It's Karen Anderson with Aortic Hope coming to you with our last live event for Aortic Disease Awareness Month, and I am so excited to be able to do this event. I am here with Katie Moran, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself. I'm a little bit more casual tonight, and you'll see why in a minute. This event is going to help all of us learn a different way of reducing our stress. And as you know, stress is one of the leading causes for increasing our blood pressure, and that's not something we really want to do or experience. So separate from all of the medications that we take, separate from all of that, we're going to look at different ways of kind of grounding ourselves and taking a look at it through a variety of senses. And so we'll take a couple questions at the very end, but really what we're going to do today is just Katie and I are going to talk and share some information with you, and then you're going to get to experience a sound bath and a meditation that's going to be amazing. And I'm going to turn the camera and I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to do it with all of you. And then the beauty is you get to have this video to take back and kind of watch whenever you want to and replay it. And I'm working on Katie right now to see if we might get to do a monthly segment with Katie and just let her just kind of share some wisdom, just another perspective, a different way of looking at things. I mean, I've been here 10 minutes now, and I already feel calmer. So could be the room. I think it's just her. But Katie, why don't you just share a little bit about yourself, how you've come to be here, and a little bit about the getaway.
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to have a part of this experience with your beautiful community of survivors. So I'm very happy to be here. Like she said, I'm Katie Moran, and I own the Getaway Wellness Sanctuary, if you will. It's located at Lunar Bay Studio in Bel Air, Maryland, and you guys have had about a good year to start implementing and practicing the tools that we talked about last year with our Aortic Hope interview, where, like she said, we outlined a couple of the things that we can do for self-care to incorporate into our existing self-care strategies for being as well as we possibly can, in addition to all of the beautiful technologies and medicines that we have access to today. So these are things to enhance your wellness. They're not generally used specifically to be like instead of. It's a yes and sort of thing, not a well instead of thing. It's not supposed to be that.
Yeah. To complement the stuff that your physicians are giving you.
Exactly. I believe in a purely integrative approach, and seriously, everybody has a different approach that they are completely comfortable with. So some people might, change what they're comfortable with, and depending on the person's current state of being and whatever they've been through in the past, that's where you start to put things in and put them all together so that it's a completely unique formula for your specific healing. So that being said, everybody has, a variety of sensory experience accessible to them no matter what. So we outlined sight. So one of the things that we can do to reground and to come really back into the present moment is through bringing in some nature. So I like to use a lot of nature pictures, or even better yet, if you have the ability to go out into nature and just, be in the forest or bathing in, the ocean, like that's, all the senses all the time. So that's instant.
And we had talked also about, for those of you that have PTSD, sometimes seeing an ambulance going by or seeing a helicopter can be a little disabling. Well, using some of Katie's techniques and just having a different type of visualization can really be enough to ground you and take you out of whatever you're associating what you see. So I know I've implemented a lot of what Katie said last year. So I do have pictures of my travels to the beach and my travels to Arizona and different places that were meaningful to me. And if I get stressed out, I like to go look at those pictures. So I'll just, sit and focus on those. I also have one in my car for those triggering moments, so I can just divert my attention and visually try to ground myself that
That
way.
is so important, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, because a PTSD trigger can be very hard to bring yourself back into the present moment from. But because of these tools and because of all of these practices, it becomes easier and easier each time one of those triggers really hits, to bring yourself back into the moment, back into the joy of what life's bringing you next. Because when it all comes down to it, we can sit there once, when we're triggered, and it's like, okay, everything, like, there's the ambulance. So, okay, there's the trigger. Then we have the opportunity in the next few moments to sit with ourselves, notice what's happening, and step back out of that experience to say, okay, you know what? This experience is affecting me right now, but it doesn't have to define me right now. So bringing yourself back into a slow breath, maybe putting your hands on your heart or the back of your head, or putting both hands flat on the thighs, and just breathing and using any of these tools, and just being slow with yourself, and really just remembering that, okay, whatever that was that triggered me, that is so 5 minutes ago. And right now, I have the opportunity to use this as a growth, to use this as an opportunity to show up in all of the strength and all of the grace that I have grown through all of these other experiences to get to. So it's an opportunity to really show up for yourself. So I thank you so much for bringing that up.
Yeah, thanks for pointing it out to me when we talked about it. So that was sight. So there's a couple different things: pictures on a desk, in your room, carrying it with you, putting it on your phone even as a screensaver, and just glancing at that. The next one we talked about, we're going to save sound.
Yeah.
The next one we talked about, I think, was touch. So let's talk about tactile.
So we can do a lot of different things. So like I said, immersing yourself in nature, digging your feet into the sand, or putting your feet on the grass. That's like one of the best things that you can do. But if you don't have instant access to earth, you can also, hold a crystal. And crystals are an amazing tool, and they're all different for different people and different strengths and things that they can complement us because of their, molecular structure. When that's combined with our body, when we're holding the crystal, it actually has a vibration that affects our bodies. And they're very, very subtle, but even just connecting to earth and having that, even if it's, Dumbo holding his magic feather, it works for him. So whatever it is that works for you, I encourage you to just find what it is and enjoy it. And
well, I'm glad you said something about stepping outside in nature. There's so many pictures I'm sure you guys have seen where you'll see people sitting in Central Park. They don't have their shoes and socks on. Their hands are in the grass, or at least their feet are in the grass. And so after we met again last year, I did some thinking about it. And until it got really cold, I would just stand outside in my backyard and just put my feet, I just stood there, and I thought, this is going to be the silliest thing, but I'm just going to do it. And I put my feet in the dirt, and I put my feet in the grass. And we are this earth. I mean, we're not talking, for some people, a lot of this is very mumbo jumbo, but the reality is we end up back into the earth, which we're coming from the earth. We eat food that's grown in the ground. There's a lot of energy and connectivity to the earth. And so when you put your feet in it, I have to say, if on the basic level you just feel calmer, that's a touch. And that's what we're talking about in reducing the stress sometimes. Mm-hmm. There is nothing better than putting your feet in the water with the ocean. Even if you're not a water person, it's just something about the waves that I know I find very soothing. It's so great. It's so great. But you had mentioned on the last conversation about, obviously, I firmly believe in any form of massage therapy, but even just yourself, I know for myself, I tend to, if I become very stressed, my self-soothe is I always swipe over one eyebrow. I don't know where it came from, but it works. I divert my attention to something else. But what are some other things that people can do just for that touch and that immediate grounding moment?
So yes, absolutely. Self-massage and self-care, even just holding yourself like this, or holding the forearms, helps us to kind of process emotions. and it just kind of regrounds you. It's like, okay, let's come back. Gardening is another thing, just that tangible interaction with the earth. And then, of course, receiving like a professional massage is always a beautiful tool to incorporate into your practice. And I don't just say that because I'm a massage therapist. The reason why I got into it is because I enjoyed it so much, and I saw what it did for me and what it did for my family members in order to heal through, you know, our own stories and our own traumas and ailments. So
you did something the last time that incorporated touch and a better way of breathing. So I know we talked about the diaphragmic breathing and just placing your hand on your chest. You did something which was
we did
like
alternate nostril breathing.
Yes, can you show everybody how to do that again? Because I think in just having to think about it, that takes you down a level, and there's something about focusing on your breath, and there's also still a degree of self-touch. So maybe you can walk us through that a little bit.
Okay, so you start with your hand like this,
and
you plug one nostril, and then you inhale, 2, 3, 4, pinch and switch, exhale, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, switch, exhale, 2, 3, 4, inhale once again, switch and exhale once again. One more, inhale once again, switch and exhale once again. Breathe naturally.
That's wonderful.
And it just brings you back and
see, we're not even nervous anymore.
Yeah, it helps to balance the left and right hemispheres of the brain. It does a lot of great things.
No, I mean, that's great. And I mean, it took, I mean, for a split second, I forgot that I was actually doing this online with everybody. But so again, thumb goes on and you inhale for 4, hold it, pinch, switch, exhale. Yes. Inhale again, hold, pinch, switch. That's a really easy thing to practice and do. I hope everybody gets a chance to try that.
You can teach it.
It's amazing
On your own.
Right, so we've covered, what did we? So we covered sight and we've covered touch. Now let's talk about smell, because I know we had that whole talk about oils, and that is still such an up and coming aromatherapy, which look, it is just true, because menthol, eucalyptus helps open up our nostrils. Hence we've been using Vicks and having it put in our chest since we were children. Let's talk about some of the other things that people can use as far as smell.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So aromatherapy is another one of those really gentle tools that you can just incorporate into what you're doing. It's not supposed to replace your medications, but it definitely does make a difference for me. So a lot of, you know, what we bring into the sensory experience of aroma is that stimulus of memory. I'm trying to think of that word. I can't think of the word.
Oh, that's still good how you're describing it, because I think you're right. If I walk into a room and I smell certain smells, I think of childhood. I can think happy thoughts.
Why can't we think of the word? Anyway, I'll think of it randomly, and then I'll just.
But I'm sure that's for you.
You guys, can you help? What's that
word? If you come up with the word, type it. But if you go into a room and you smell apple pie, if that's something your mother baked, or it makes you think of home, or if anywhere I am, if I smell lavender, I think of a spa. Instantly, I am so much calmer. I have that association because I love to go to the spa. So it's an association.
Yeah. It does something for your brain that just takes you back, and it feels very comfortable. And it also, you know, goes along with taste really well. So a lot of times, you know, when we're thinking about a smell, we can also bring up a sensation of taste for ourselves. Likewise, when we think about a craving, like we think about this taste, like that apple pie from grandma, and it's like, oh, I can smell it and taste it, and all I'm doing is thinking about it. I mean, that is a really powerful tool in understanding how really, really remarkable our brains and our bodies are. Just to be able to come back into that experience of just the nostalgia, that word.
There you go, there's the word. That wasn't the word I was thinking, but okay, nostalgia sounds good.
Yeah.
But so some of the smells that the community members can go for to help with stress reduction. I wouldn't think it would necessarily be citrus. I think when I think of citrus, I think that gets me energized. But what would be? We have a whole list. It is online under the notes section. There's relaxation notes from Katie that you'll find. But what would be some of the smells and suggestions on where to?
Well, of course,
Right.
lavender is a tridoshic, or it's a really accessible oil for everybody. It's good for a lot of different things, really. Another thing that we use a lot is sage. So you can use sage to kind of like cleanse the space, to kind of reset, to clear out old energies that might be stagnant. Another one of those is the Palo Santo wood. And even lemon sometimes is a very cleansing. I mean, we see it in a lot of household products. We also see like thyme, and if you're familiar with certain brands, we have thieves and stuff like that. But you can use aromatherapy to reground. You can use it to even treat skin problems. So a lot of times, if I have even a tooth infection or like a little blemish or something, I'll take some of my healing blend, and it's got some frankincense in it, and I'll just dab it on or drop it in my mouth, and not swallow it, but like swish it around and spit it out, and it does a really great job. It might not be everybody's thing. You might want to just stick with your Orgel, but if you're open to trying new things, I would encourage you to do your research before putting any essential oil in your mouth.
But even breathing the essential oils, we're talking about oils that have been around thousands of years. These things
it's the
have been around.
lifeblood. It's the lifeblood of the plant. These essential oils are really potent. So that's why I say you want to do your research and be a little bit careful with them. You don't want to apply something to your skin without a carrier oil like coconut oil or sesame oil or almond oil or something like that. But they're very useful in and for a variety of applications. My essential oils book, it's like this thick, and it's full of sticky notes for all different things, not just my custom aroma blends that my clients know and love, that they probably use at home and think about how great they felt during their massage experience with me, so they can come back into that bliss in that way too. But also just for what they're good for. Some of them are good for decreasing inflammation, and all different things. But that being said, with the taste component, a lot of the essential oils that we find are also derived from plant foods. So we think about basil, and that's a very strong medicine, like basil and thyme and oregano and marjoram. They're all really good for different things. So you can look at it as how are you cooking your formula for your self-care medicine, basically. And medicine, I mean, like your aromatherapy blend, the way you're thinking about yourself, the way you're talking to yourself, what you're affirming every single day while you're doing these practices, how you're interpreting things. So one of the components of living a relaxed and more balanced lifestyle is really double checking yourself. So earlier when we mentioned PTSD, I mentioned something about taking a step back out of whatever the situation is, whatever is being brought up in this moment, and just reassessing. So it's kind of like checking yourself. So if you have these glasses on, like we all do, it's our perspective. So what is your lens made out of right now? Is it painted with rose colors? Is it clear? Is it muddy? Is it smudgy? So whatever your perspective is, we do these meditations, we do these things to help clarify and come back into our most pure state of being. And that way, when we are in our most pure state of being, we're literally becoming one with nature, one with Gaia, one with the earth and all of the sentient beings that are here. These practices aren't just to ground ourselves. They influence the people around us. We become connected to the entire population of people that are also doing these things at the same time. There are different mantras that we can do to bring in all of that divine, loving energy and just really reconnect in community and bring some harmony back in.
So these quotes that you read at 6 a.m. every morning that Betsy works tirelessly to come up and create for you every single week. I mean, we work on them sometimes 2 weeks in advance, but definitely weekly in advance. They're not meant for you just to read and click like and think that's so great. They're really meant for you to just practice. And I think it was a couple weeks ago, it was like National Paint Rock Day. And you know, the reason we were sharing that with you is because I can just imagine, you know, I've walked around before and I have found a painted rock, and, you know, you don't think that you should take it because you think somebody left it, but it made me feel so happy for a split second, because I thought, wow, somebody really painted this ladybug on this rock, and this is so cute. Let me go put it right over here and let somebody else find it. So what I'm hearing you say is, yes, read these affirmations, but don't just read them and keep them to yourself. Maybe find a way to practice them and live them. And I mean, I've walked by people sometimes in the day and I'll just tell them, wow, that's a really pretty shirt, or it's a great looking car, just something. And people you'll be amazed at how stunned they get that you're talking to them and that you're being kind, because I don't think as people, we are used to that enough. And
Exactly.
in giving that, you end up getting back a lot.
Exactly.
Which,
You're
yeah.
creating that harmony with your connection to everybody else.
Right.
Mother Teresa said that a simple smile can change the world.
It really does.
So if you're walking around with the mantra living in your heart that you're not enough, or, oh my gosh, I hate myself, or, oh my gosh, I made that mistake, 10 years ago,
right.
Then you're going to have this face.
Yeah.
And then if you're walking around with, I am enough,
yeah.
I love myself, everything in my life is happening just the way that it needs to, because I believe and I know and I live knowing that I am going to be taken care of. Then you're going to walk around and you're going to have an openness to your spirit and an openness to your glow that is just going to it's going to bring, so much more of what you're putting out to you. And that goes for both sides of the coin. So like if you're walking around like this with those negative mantras, then, people are going to see you and they're going to be like, oh, she's sad. Oh, she's sad. I'm sad too. Just looking at her.
But meanwhile, you never look like that. That's what's so.
But if you walk around and you're happy and you feel
you
good,
get that back. People give it back
look
to you.
at how much of a difference it can make when you see a little kid smiling at you at the grocery store.
Right.
I mean, it's
just laugh.
the best. It's like why dogs make everybody smile, because they're just
smiling.
like, oh, hi, stranger, I like you.
So we had just talked a little bit about in doing that, and so before we get into our, because we talked about taste, we talked about sight, we've talked about smell, we've talked about touch,
and now we're going to talk about sound.
Before we go to sound, though, and we did the breathing, is there so I've heard that you can meditate anytime. You can brush your teeth.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that really meditating could be when you zone out, though people zone out while driving, so don't meditate when you drive. But it's the moment in which we call it zoning out. You could be brushing your teeth and your thoughts they either go elsewhere or they get really calm and you just get hyper-focused. So
absolutely.
What is your thoughts on just how somebody, first of all, why meditate? And then what's the easiest way to try it and start it before we do this?
So first of all, why meditate? Meditation helps to improve your mental and emotional elasticity, if you will. So it helps us to have more flexibility in the time in between our reaction and response. In between, it gives us a little bit more of a strength and a grace in our buffer when we practice regular meditation. So when something happens that triggers us, it doesn't affect us in the same way every time, because we're doing this mindful practice. We're bringing awareness back into what's really happening. Do I take things personally every time something happens, or can I step outside of it and realize that other people are having issues too that I don't need to take personally? And then, maybe eventually we can even take a step back outside of even that and say, okay, so, I don't even have to take my own emotions personally, because I now know how to name that. And I know that that doesn't define me anymore. So I can choose the type of person I want to be in each and every moment, instead of just letting, I remember my mom used to tell me as a little girl, or even as a teenager. Like, Katie, don't let yourself get blown away by every breeze.
That's a good one. I like that one.
And that's definitely stuck with me. So it allows us to really stay present. So you can think about it like a pendulum. So pendulum kind of goes back and forth and back and forth in a circular motion. Now that's kind of how our emotions and our thought processes go, as well as the unfoldment of our human experience. So, if we get really, really, really excited about something, then you might see it swing in the opposite direction. And then the experiences get closer and closer and closer to the center point. So if we can just maintain that strength and grace that I keep coming back to, then we can really keep an equilibrium about it. Like, yes, this is exciting. I'm going to be very happy. I'm going to enjoy my contentment in this, but I'm not going to let it consume me, because, it's just about maintaining.
And in our community, whether we get really upset about something or really excited about something, it could fluctuate our blood pressure regardless, whether it's positive or negative.
Yep.
And I know after I dissected, and I still do it to this day, if I'm having a really bad night of high blood pressure, my husband usually turns up all the lights. We put on the spa music channel. I lay down and I just try to do that diaphragmatic breathing. I focus on my breathing. Now I'll do my nostril breathing.
Exactly.
And I just listen to music that makes me happy. For him, Sunday mornings, it's always classical music in our house. It just is. He enjoys waking up on a day off, my husband, and just having it be simpler, no news, no noise, no phone. And it just allows him to begin his day off in a little bit more peaceful moment. So
Exactly.
I think for all of you, you need to find your way of recentering and balancing. And I know Katie's going to show us what I think has become one of my favorite ways. I've done this now like 2 or 3 times with you, and I am planning on coming back. I want to be a regular as soon as she offers regular time.
Absolutely. I can't wait. So just to kind of encapsulate and come back to what you had mentioned earlier. So we're all just talking about maintaining that steady wave, maintaining a wave where we can stay content and pleased. Now, you mentioned earlier something about how some people can be doing these mundane things and they zone out, and that is a meditation in and of itself. And that is a very valid and very tried and true and very good way to meditate. It's called moving meditation. A really great moving meditation is surfing. A lot of people can really come back into the present moment when you're out there and it's just you and the elements and the other people out there, and you have to be conscious of so many things. And a lot of people find that with playing instruments, like playing the guitar or just drumming or, just running. Doing yoga, practicing art, painting, all of these things, they're so powerful. And, we can see all the change that's happening around us, whether it be through a brush stroke or the change of scenery as you're going hiking or, whatever it is. I mean, even just doing the dishes and watching all of those dishes get smaller and smaller and smaller. Like it's just, this sensory experience of watching the time pass in front of you. But if you can come back into that equilibrium, the center point of the pendulum swing of the experience around you, then you can really find that bliss and find that peace and eventually transcend. So the more and more mindful that we are, the more and more capable that we become as we become more mindful of not only our own thoughts and about the experiences and interactions that we have in our relationships, but our self-talk as well, and our emotions as they come up, because they could be very, unexpected. All of those things could be very unexpected. And once we really get to know ourselves and get to know the lens that we're looking out from, then we can begin to really truly transcend into a greater piece of the human experience, which is the spiritual realm that I'm very comfortable in. And if that makes you uncomfortable, then I'm sorry, but it's definitely a big part of who I am and what my practice is about. And I go into that space sometimes involuntarily while I'm, treating through sound bath meditation, but it all ends up being exactly as it needs to be unfolding so that everybody has the best experience that can possibly happen, and it's all organic.
What is this experience? I'm going to turn this computer when you're ready to go back there. What is this we're about to experience? What is a sound bath?
So a sound bath is basically an immersion in the very, very physical vibration of sound frequency. Sound frequency is a measurable phenomenon where we can see through somatic sciences how the vibration of the sound can literally change a molecular structure. And we can really see how that can translate into healing the body on a very physical and very, measurable level now, thanks to all of the improvements in the science community. But I mean, even more primal than that, we can have an experience at a sound bath that brings us into a place of bliss that we had never been to before. And sometimes we have this experience during a deep meditation. It can be a silent meditation. It can be a sound meditation. It can be a yoga nidra experience. It can be any one of these, these tools that we can immerse ourselves in, where we're really just rising out of the story and coming into a place where our higher consciousness can unwind karma, where we can unwind the samskaras of our past so that we can be more pure moving forward. Of course, again, we can just have a candle, we can gaze into the candle, and that tapas meditation is a really great way to start off too. So if you have a candle that you have nearby, you can light that and just take that moment for yourself and for your community. And, we'll get started with just some breathing, and we'll make some sounds. And
so
we'll
everybody
do
that's
some
listening
movement.
Can either, at this point, get comfy on their floor,
Oh, yeah, get
comfy in your bed, on your sofa, but try to find a room where you think you won't be disturbed. Turn off your phones, do all of that. I'm going to do this sitting in the chair to not embarrass myself and lay on her floor. But go ahead and take a minute and get comfortable while Katie goes and sets up. We are going to do like just one quick test because we've got the microphone, and I want somebody out there to just type us and let us know that you can hear everything okay. I'm just checking to see what comments. Looks like Betsy uses a lot of beachy smells.
That's good. A lot of nostalgia in the beach.
And some people are, so Patty signed up for a meditation app the other day, which is great. And I had signed up for one of those meditation apps as well. But I will tell you, if you can find a place near you, if you're not in the Baltimore metropolitan Bel Air area, otherwise I would tell you come here. If you can find a place near you that offers something like this, wait till you're done. You're going to want to sign up and go. Promise me.
There are a growing number of sound practitioners in the local area as well as in the global community, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so grateful for that, because the more and more people that are practicing this ancient art, the better and not the better, but I would say the healthier and the stronger the resonance of, this movement to bringing us back into harmony as a community will become. So I'm really grateful to just be one facet of that community that, I can offer this to you guys. So.
We're going to show you, because I know the last time we did it, we didn't have the greatest sound. So now we're going to try this.
Yep, and we have a new mic,
excited.
So hopefully it works. If we can just get you guys
get it all situated, you get situated.
Give us some feedback about if you can hear us.
Yeah, I will check. If somebody can just type to say that you hear it. I'm turning this so you guys can see what she's doing and listen to her. And do you need me to move the table closer? You've got that?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay, so I'll just sit here and you just start, and we'll see if somebody texts and says that they can see. This is so exciting.
So I think it might be a little more relaxing if we grab that light, but first I'll just hit a note or two and we can get some feedback about the sound quality.
Okay,
Is
can
that
anybody
lighting
write
better?
us and tell us if they can hear that sound okay?
Sounds like a big bell from a church. All right, I guess you can hear it.
We are going to get started then.
All right, let me try just one of the higher frequencies.
Okay, let us know if you can hear the higher frequency real quick too.
And then the gong frequency.
Sounds good. Now let's try the gong. Did you guys hear the gong? Yep, everything sounds good. I think we're on our way. That all we were getting. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, guys, enjoy.
All right, so let's start by putting our feet flat on the floor if we're seated. And then palms face down on your thighs. If you feel like you'd like some more grounding, and then palms face up on the thighs if there's something that you're asking the universe for, so that you're able to just receive it. And then we'll just set an intention for this meditation experience practice. It could be just to try something new, or to find some more self-love, or just to relax for a couple minutes. So whatever that is, without judging, just simply notice it. And we'll start to lengthen the breath, breathing in through the nose for 5 counts, and then suspending the breath at the top for a little while, and then exhaling through the nose for a nice 5 count. When we do this, we really want to make sure that we're breathing in through all of our lung space, inhaling slowly, and then suspending the breath just for a moment at the top, allowing your heart to rise, letting your shoulders relax down around your lungs, and then exhaling, relaxing completely, exhaling slowly, breathing in for one more round, suspending the breath at the top, allowing your heart to float up a little bit, relaxing your shoulders, and exhaling back down, slowly and mindfully. Watch as your thoughts come and go. Watch as your breath comes organically. And each exhale, allow yourself to just drift further and further to gravity, sinking into Mother Earth's embrace, allowing your body to feel heavier and heavier, letting your eyes sink deeper into their sockets, and allowing your eyebrows to completely soften and relax. Relaxing your fingertips, relaxing your hips and your belly, relaxing your legs and your feet all the way down to your toes. And then allow yourself to feel lighter and lighter, feeling so light and expansive that your love vibration extends deep into the universe. watch as your breath organically weaves itself into your experience. Just as the sounds organically weave themselves together. And notice how the sounds are also a truly physical experience. Start to scan through, noticing where in your body each tone resonates. Om Tat Sat. Start to bring your awareness to the sounds furthest away from you, aside from the speaker that you're listening to. Tune in as far as you can hear. And then bring your awareness to the sounds that are just inside the room that you're in. The traffic outside coming in, or the ticking clock. The sounds in your house or your office where you're listening. And then bring your awareness to the sound of your own breath. Or maybe the people or animals breathing beside you. Really bring your awareness tuning inward to the sound of the miracle of your beating heart. And allow the gratitude that you feel for the miracle of your own beating heart to connect you with all of the people all over the world that are grateful for the miracle of their beating heart too. Bring your hands and lay them on top of your heart now. And just allow yourself to be with yourself, to be the witness of your breath, to take a moment to acknowledge your stillness and your peace in this moment. And allow yourself the gift to bring this stillness and peace into your everyday reality, the everyday practice of being at peace with yourself and those around you. Wherever you are, if you're laying down, you can start to pull yourself up into a seated position. And wherever you are, you can start to circle sweep your arms around and up. Breathing in and finding a steeple with your hands at the top. Taking a nice deep breath in and then exhaling over to one side. Stay there for a round of breath, letting your lungs massage your heart and open your rib cage. And inhale back up. Exhale over to the other side and do the same thing for this side of the belly ribs. Opening them up. Inhale back up. Arch your back just a little bit. And then bring your hands down into your heart space, pressing your arms against your sternum. And coming back to your intention that you set for yourself in the beginning. It was my honor and so much fun guiding you through your practice today, whether it be your first time or your millionth time. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself as much as I did. I think it's amazing. I think that, I don't know what's more amazing, just listening, or I did peek. I opened my eyes and I watched her, and I'm still mesmerized how these sounds come out of these bowls, and just the rhythmic motion, just watching her make the sounds just made me more relaxed. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that. I am hoping that I can work on Katie to convince her to maybe do like a chat with Katie or a session with Katie, whether we do it once a month or we do it once every couple months. Give us your thoughts. Give us your opinion on how you thought this afternoon went. If you were with us live, great. If you had to do it on replay, that's fine. Replay it over and over again. I would be so happy if Katie would join us and do things like maybe some seated yoga for those of us that can't do downward dog and we can't do yoga. If you want to zip back in with us here, and maybe we can do something like that. Maybe do an essential oils class and just sit and talk about it. Just do something where we can highlight you, all of your skills, your passion, and bring some of that passion to all of us. So
I would love to.
Thank you so much for being part of our day and helping us round out Aortic Disease Awareness Month the best way possible with just some fun and calmness.
And gratitude.
And gratitude.
So much gratitude.
And just get us really raring to go to finish out this year strong. So thank you again. Love you so much.
Oh, always a pleasure.
And we'll talk to you guys soon. So have a wonderful night and get your thoughts to us. We'd really appreciate it. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.